Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2019 mod career mode here, driving as Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari for round number 9 for the Austrian GP. If you guys did miss the previous one at the French Grand Prix, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one, uploaded a few days ago. But here for Austria, I can probably guarantee this race will be better than the real-life Spanish Grand Prix we just saw earlier today, with some ease, I think, because the F1 game, even on a boring race, throws up some pretty good entertainment compared to what we witnessed in Barcelona this Sunday. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to this one. Last time was a very chaotic Grand Prix at France. I'm hoping for a bit more of a calmer Grand Prix, but in terms of a performance-wise, a calmer one, because performance-wise, our Ferrari was kind of up and down all race long at Paul Ricard. So I'm hoping here at the Red Bull Ring, we've got a bit more consistency, and the car is, you know, wherever it is, it's going to be there the entire race long, whereas the race pace was just changing up and down as we went on through the Grand Prix last time out. But qualifying at the moment here, looking pretty damn good. Sector 2, very strong for us there. We were actually P4 at the end of Sector 1, going into Sector 2, but we've gained a massive amount of time in Sector 2 now. In Sector 3, we're also gaining some time, just about steering our car, wrestling it through the last few corners there as it wobbles a little bit with oversteer, but we're going to go to the line, and it's going to be a fantastic pole position then, and our first pole for a very long time in this season. I think our last pole may have been, I think, Bahrain or China, I want to say. I can't even remember. It's been that long since our last pole here in the Ferrari, but there we go. We've stuck it on pole alongside Lewis Hamilton on the first row. Our teammate Sebastian Vettel is down in third place, just right directly behind us with Valtteri Bottas next to him. Then into a Red Bull row. Then you got Raikkonen and Carlos Sainz in the Alfa Romeo and McLaren. Then you got all a row of Haas. Then you got Sergio Perez, Hulkenberg. Then Ricciardo and Antonio Giovinazzi next to one another. Lance Stroll, Lando Norris share a row. And then it's all Toro Rosso and, surprise, surprise, all Williams, as it has been for the last 3 episodes. But let's go then to the Austrian Grand Prix on pole position. So thankfully, unlike real life, here in this mod, we've got some good pace here in qualifying at least. We've seen in the last 2 episodes, though, the race pace of this Ferrari in this mod career has been very questionable, to say the least. So I'm not completely confident quite yet. We'll have to see how we get off the line. But strategy-wise, default 1-stop, but we're going to choose the 2-stop because historically on the game at Austria, the 2-stop has been faster as long as you don't get caught up in too much traffic. So we'll have to see about that. France, there was a decent amount of traffic there, but not too much. And Canada was pretty bad for a bit, but you know, obviously we had the front wing off issue, kind of the end plate breaking off. So I think I'm confident this time round that we can have the pace to make a 2-stop aggressive strategy like this work. But like I said, it kind of depends, so we might have to see it on the fly. But you know, the overwhelming thing will just be seeing if this 1-lap pace for us for pole can translate, because the timing wise, if you saw on the starting grid, was very, very close between us for the 2 Mercs and the 2 Ferraris and myself and Vettel. So it's going to be a very, very tight race, very much unlike in real life, thankfully. But let's just get into this then. Round number 9 for the Austrian Grand Prix. It now seems like ages ago since we last won a Grand Prix, so let's see if we can try and convert this pole into P1 at the end of the Grand Prix. So we go to 5 red lights here, the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Fire lights are out and we're underway. It's a bit of a slow start initially, but then we cut across Lewis Hamilton to the right-hand side on purpose, went towards the right-hand side straight away off the line, but Hamilton goes around the outside, and it doesn't matter in the end. I don't know how on earth he got that. I think I went a bit too cautious on the brakes maybe into turn 1, not to lock it up, but I might have also compromised my own line, to be fair, going so tight. So Hamilton now up into P1, surprisingly very easily into turn 1, but now up the hill, end of sector 1, we get back down the inside of him at the hairpin, squeeze him out, fair enough there, no contact made, just to really push him to the limit of the lines, and we're back up into P1, but Hamilton and Bottas are both lurking around there, 2 silver sharks, 2 silver arrows, and Bottas is round the outside of Hamilton and tries to have a peek on me as well. The 2 Mercs now side by side on the exit, and Bottas is going to have the better of Hamilton to the inside. So once again, Bottas looking quite strong in this Grand Prix. Obviously, the man who won the last GP. He's been on a bit of a roll. I think he's won the last 2 Grand Prix, I believe, if I remember correctly. My memory's that bad from the Canadian GP, but I believe he did. And so he's on a bit of a roll here in this career mode, almost kind of like he was in real life until Hamilton stopped that in the real life Spanish GP today. But anyway, we move on to lap number 3. Things were looking good there, purple lap time, but now Bottas with DRS going to come through. That Mercedes car seems to be so strong in a straight line, especially with DRS. So it seems like the drag reduction system on their car is a lot more powerful perhaps than ours, because I don't feel like we have the same sort of power when we open DRS. But Bottas now right there on the left hand side. We got DRS though, because we actually crossed the line behind him on the second detection point there, so that's helped us to defend. But Bottas got some good downforce and mid-corner, we're definitely missing some downforce. We've seen that from the last 2 episodes. This Ferrari car does not have enough downforce compared to the Mercedes car. Kind of using more mechanical grip in Sector 2 here to pull it back. That's how I did it in qualifying. You saw here, this was the very corner where the mechanical grip just really paid dividends for our car to get the traction down, just like we are now, to maybe try and re-overtake Valtteri Bottas there. And so I feel like it's going to be a very tight Grand Prix all race long if it's going to be something like this, where the Mercs keep getting us in Sector 1 and Sector 3 perhaps, and we can try and do the business in Sector 2 mid-apex there. But what might help me is the 2 Mercs, they fight enough. Hamilton now down the inside of Valtteri Bottas, so, you know, if you two want to fight, keep on fighting for lap after lap, I don't mind. You know, that will just make my life easier maybe in P1, but I doubt it. I think Hamilton now is up into P2, and he's going to be the one that attacks me next time round. But you got to say, for now, it's looking pretty good. Vettel's also there in P4, keeping up with the 2 Mercedes cars, so I think the pace is looking decent enough, at least on these ultra-soft tyres for now. It's very dark, though. There was no forecast for rain, but let's keep an eye out for that as well. That could be a spanner in the works. We move on to lap 4. Hamilton now with DRS, and like I said, that Merc is just going to keep coming back at us as long as it has the DRS. We lock up on the front right tire. We're going to have to try and squeeze Hamilton very aggressively. Tyres bang on the front left to front right there. The 2 championship rivals, of course, myself and Hamilton in the top 3 fight here in the standings, and Hamilton is jousting with us there. He pushes us wide. We're on the curb. We go the long way round now on the left-hand side. We're going to get to the inside for the next corner there. It's still side by side. Absolutely amazing ding-dong battle for the race lead. Really good to see as we go on towards lap 5. Last 2 corners, and Hamilton nearly chops us off there. So very, very lucky not to break a bit of my front wing, and for another time again to the inside there. And so it's getting very, very frosty indeed. If they're still pretty much the same distance apart there, neck and neck, as we go to another new lap. And you can see Bottas also getting the mix, and Vettel perhaps as well. We go very deep into turn 1 though, trying to defend our position. That's compromised my line, and that's invited Bottas through, because I took Hamilton wide there by going wide myself. And so now Valtteri Bottas is the one that leads the way. Hamilton's on my right hand side. We're going to go to the inside of Bottas there. It's going to be 3 wide, just about. We're in neutral there. We nearly get pinched, and it's absolutely amazing. 3 wide with the 2 Mercedes car for the race lead. Hamilton's back down the inside. He's made a double pass. Fantastic move for him. And now Gasly has come out of nowhere there. He's overtaking Vettel. That's unfortunate for our team there, as Vettel now goes down the order. I think it's even an Alfa Romeo car. Raikkonen even getting involved maybe in the top 5 fight. I think the top 6 cars covered by just about 2 seconds there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Hamilton remains in the lead though, as we have to defend against Bottas on that previous lap. But now we're going to get right back onto Hamilton and try and take this race lead back from him as we go nice and easy into turn 1. Take a tighter line. Hamilton compromised his line somewhat because he went a little bit too deep. Kind of almost like I did last lap, and so that gives us a good run on the left hand side with DRS. Pull out from the slipstream on the outside, sparking away. We're going to go a little bit early on the brakes and do the textbook switchback move on Hamilton. He's gone a little bit deep again for the 2nd time in a row on this lap now. DRS open, but you can see the Merc has some very good legs underneath it there. The engine working well. I'm sure Hamilton is on rich mix and overtake ERS mode, I would say, but we just about squeezed him out there. Very harsh on him, so much so that he now battles Bottas behind us, as our engineer asked me for a change of strategy. For now, I'm not going to think about that though. But the 2 Mercs now side by side. I think that's Hamilton just about keeping ahead though of Valtteri Bottas there. So for now, we're in the race lead of the Austrian Grand Prix on lap number 5 or 6, I think it is. The 2 Mercs, then 2, 3. Then you got Pierre Gasly in P4. P5 isn't even Vettel. It's Kimi Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo. That's a little bit embarrassing for Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari car that Raikkonen was in last season. He's now behind him in P6. So I don't know if Vettel's had any kind of damage on the front wing or has issues. I'm not too sure. But we move on to lap number 10. Very wide on the exit, extending the track a little bit as the tyres start to go off here. But you can see they're going even longer. Lap number 12, 2 laps longer than our original pit stop was going to be, because I'm trying to cover off Hamilton, and it seems like Hamilton's going to make a 1 stop. So I've decided to stick with him on this 1 stop and try and cover him off, because you know it was such a close fight in that first stint that I don't think a 2 stop's going to be working for us. I think our only way to try and win this race is to cover off Hamilton and do the same strategy as him, and that's a 1 stop. But that means the tyre wear is hitting hard, and it's hitting a lot harder for me than it is Hamilton, clearly, because he's gone round the outside now, and it seems like he has better grip for now. We're going to do our best to squeeze him out though. We've got some traction on the exit there, so we kind of sweep across on the racing line to cut him off there. He sticks a nose in. We're still there on the outside, so we're just tiptoeing around at this point because the tyre wear is so high now that I can just feel the tyres starting to lose grip as soon as I touch the throttle. So it's very, very kind of delicate racing at this point between myself and Hamilton. It almost feels like it's raining in a way with a lack of grip. That's how, how bad the tyres are. That's how, desperate myself and Hamilton are trying to force each other onto this 1 stop and copying each other's strategies. And so we just about make that work on the last turn, but onto a new lap now in this Grand Prix. I honestly think it just might be a matter of time before Hamilton gets us, though, because he seems so comfortable right now and a lot more, you know, easy on the throttle compared to myself, as the AI always are, really, on this game. So here comes Hamilton again, coming a knocking with DRS as we enter the end of Sector 1 into Sector 2. We're nice and easy on the brakes, but yeah, you can see a lock up there on the front right. Hamilton's made the switch to the inside there, and he's got some good traction. I think it's going to be very difficult to defend against him as we go through down the main straight there, and Hamilton's got DRS this time. He's on the inside also this time round compared to last lap where I was on the inside, and you can see there on the exit, he's just got so much better traction. I think that's our fight done, to be honest. Lap 13, though, I think it's now time to probably come into the pit lane. I'm kind of hoping at this stage, I'm praying that Hamilton also comes in. If he doesn't come in, he's just got some alien-like tyre wear pace, and I probably won't be able to do anything about it. But you can see there, I'm pretty much donezo for this stint. Oh my god, the rear tyres, 71%. That's probably the most tyre wear I've ever had in a race so far this season. We've really been stretched very hard by Hamilton, but it means that we stick with him, really, because Bottas is also doing a one-stop, my teammate's doing a one-stop, so, you know, no one in the top flight was going to try a two-stop, so I would have been the way odd one out, and seeing how close, like I said, the pace was in that first stint, I just didn't think the one-stop, I just didn't think the two-stop was the way to go. So we've covered off Hamilton, we're behind him right now, but let's see, there's all that traffic there on the right-hand side, so maybe Hamilton gets caught up in traffic, maybe we can try and catch him up. It's a lot of maybes, I know, but we've got to try and hope here, but at the moment, Hamilton is going to be in a net race lead. I'm going to be in a net race P2. Let's just see, though, how things progress. As we move into this traffic fight now, you can see Hamilton's already overtaken some cars up the road. I think he's already passed both Toro Rossos of Kvyat and Albon there. So let's try and get past Kvyat with ease. It wasn't much of an issue last time at the French GP. So I think we buried the hatchet of what's gone before us there with Kvyat from Canada and Monaco. So let's try and get past him if we can to the inside. But you can see straight line-wise, actually, I'm not catching him up too much there. So I don't know. I have ran my setup a little bit high on downforce because I knew the Ferrari was lacking some downforce compared to the Mercedes car, but I think that's maybe compromised the straight line speed of our car a little bit too much compared to the good speed we had last episode. You know, you saw our car was flying around Paul Ricard down the straights. We go around the outside, though, eventually, of the Russian, but you can see, like I said, confirmation there, Albon is the next car ahead, so Hamilton's already cleared Albon, and I think he also might just be clearing another car right about now, so he's got a massive gap already between us two. We weren't this far apart going to the pit lane. I'm doing some defensive work against Kvyat there, so already it's actually not working out for me. It's done the opposite. The traffic's actually backfiring, and it's hurting me more than Hamilton. He's clearing this really quickly, and I'm just not there with him. You know, I need to be past Albon right about now, and I should be right there with Hamilton. Instead, I'm going through the last corner, stop behind Albon. You've got the Renault that's coming into the pit lane eventually there of Hulkenberg. We see Hamilton sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, so he's got some mega pace despite even having overtaken cars. He set a purple lap time. We get down the inside of the Brit Thai driver in the Toro Rosso, and we're up into P3 now. Hamilton P2. Looks like an Alfa Romeo racing car is in P1, so I imagine that's Giovinazzi, because I think Raikkonen was with us. With the top flight in sync there, so I think Gio must have started on the soft tyre maybe and is going long for a one-stop the other way round. So maybe, I don't know, the junior Ferrari, kind of quote-unquote junior Ferrari team, maybe he can help us out here. And actually, I think he has, actually. He's massively held up Hamilton, actually, on lap 17. Go on, Gio, the lad. He's held up Hamilton massively to the point where I've set the fast lap of the Grand Prix now, and we're looking a little better now. We're caught up to Hamilton. I can actually see his name tag now as we go through turn 1, getting a tight exit, though. Gio opens up his DRS, as do I, and the Alfa Romeo car, with a bit less downforce than me, is very slippery in a straight line. It's actually catching back up to Hamilton, is holding me up here. So now Giovinazzi, he's done his job. He's held up Hamilton a decent amount, but now he needs to get out of my way and let me pass. But obviously, it's fair, you know, fair square racing here. He doesn't need to let me go. And so at the moment, just finding it difficult to even catch up to him, even with DRS, because he's got DRS. And so we try and feed it through on the outside, use the Ferrari downforce that we know we have on the exit, plant the power a little bit earlier than he can. And we're finally up into P2. Hamilton P1, though, and he's already got a bit of a gap back to us, though. So let's see how this progresses. Can I do anything now to try and catch up to Hamilton? It seems like he's in some decent control of this Grand Prix, unfortunately. And so as we move on through this Grand Prix, it's going to be Vettel's Ferrari that's catching cars instead of mine. He's catching, this is Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull Honda. You might have remembered in Stint 1, Vettel was behind Gasly and also Raikkonen, so he's trying to catch up. I think they're both overtaken Raikkonen, maybe. and now they're just trying jousting with each other for, I believe, I don't know, around P4, I want to say, or P3 maybe, for the podium position. Vettel gets ahead of Gasly, but it takes him literally the very next lap for Gasly to come back at him there. Obviously, Vettel unable to drop him and break that DRS tow line, and that Honda power is looking pretty okay around the Red Bull ring. So the Red Bull car trying to do some justice here at its kind of home race, as it were, the drinks company at least, not Milton Keynes, but Austria for the Austrian drinks company. And Gasly on the left-hand side, I think he's done the job. I'm trying to see where Gasly is. Very awkward and pretty bad camera angle, I've got to say, FIA, but Vettel just about gets squeezed out there, and so confirmation, Gasly gets back ahead, and so those two switch positions once more. But Vettel comes back at him quite quickly in Sector 2, like we saw in qualifying. The car very good through Sector 2, and so Vettel can come back at him very quickly enough. I think this is literally on the very next lap again. Vettel round the outside of Turn 1, unorthodox place to make a move there because it's so tight on the exit. He gets DRS though, he should be able to get past him finally now, and it's a question of, though, is he able to break the toe basically, because otherwise they're just going to keep swapping positions. Meanwhile, just looking at the entire composition of this race then, Hamilton's P1, here I am in P2, and Hamilton unfortunately has a lot of pace, and he's dropped me for P1, and he's getting away from me. Still it's P3, Sebastian Vettel fighting Gasly for P4 there. P5 is going to be Kimi Raikkonen actually. Surprisingly, Bottas, the man who was fighting for the race lead with Hamilton and myself, has dropped off massively, and he's back down there in P6, only just ahead of Verstappen. Eventually, though, he will catch up to Raikkonen there, and he will get ahead. This is him overtaking Raikkonen, and he's up into what is going to be 5 now. And for P6, the battle now begins between Raikkonen and Verstappen on the next lap, and Verstappen actually pressurizes Raikkonen into a mistake there, and so it's going to be Raikkonen down to P7, Verstappen P6, Bottas still in P5, and I think it's still going to be Gasly in P4 and Vettel in P3. Yep, just about though. Gasly keeping Vettel very, very honest indeed there, and so Vettel hopefully will just be able to drag this through for that podium position there in 3rd place. Meanwhile, I'm still in 2nd place as the sun comes out in Austria. The sun is coming out for Lewis Hamilton. He's been dominating this entire 2nd stint, so really unfortunate. Again, it's happened. Just like France, just like Canada, the car seemed like it was quick at the very start of the Grand Prix, and the pace just fell away towards the end of the Grand Prix. It seems like on lighter fuel, our car just doesn't seem to have pace, which doesn't make sense because here at Austria, our car was very good in qualifying because we got pole. But yeah, that was the only car I saw really in the 2nd stint, that Williams car that overtook for a lapped car there. And so it will be Hamilton that crosses the line for a very dominant Grand Prix win and the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So an extra point for him, and we're just gonna have to accept we come home in a decent, solid 2nd place, but from pole position, a little bit disappointing.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
So there we have it. Hamilton wins the Grand Prix and breaks the Bottas streak of wins here in this career mode there. He gets the full 26 points, 25 plus the 1 point for the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Like I said, a solid but a little bit disappointing result from us in 2nd place, but it's not too bad in terms of damage limitation for the championship. Hamilton won't really gain that much on us. I mean, he will gain, but I think we still will have a decent gap in the standings, you would say, because Vettel was actually going into this race. He was the one in 2nd place in the championship, and we've beaten him today by 3 points because he rounds out the double Ferrari podium in P3. Gasly P4, Bottas will be massively disappointed in P5 after 2 wins on the trot to be down there. That's really blown his momentum he was building to try and get back in this championship fight and insert himself as, you know, being in the fight at all, really. Verstappen P6, again, you know, after beating Gasly last race, he goes back to being beaten by him. Double points finish for Alfa Romeo Racing. They'll be very happy with that. So the Drivers' Championship then, we still lead the way, as it has been for a while, for the last 2 episodes, I believe, wasn't it? But Hamilton now is in second place in the standings. He's very, very close, though, with Vettel, only 4 points in it. And you can see the gap is still pretty comfortable for 1 and 2. But obviously, next race, if Hamilton was to win it again, then we've maybe got some issues. So it's still, still pretty damn tight. And actually, Bottas, despite having a bad race, he's still there or thereabouts, Bottas gets, maybe 1 or 2 more wins in the next 5 episodes. He's right there with 118 points. Gasly back ahead of Verstappen in the standings. Raikkonen slips down to P7. And it's all the same then with Magnussen, Perez, and Ricciardo and Sainz all staying in their same positions there. So, I don't know, Magnussen, Perez, and Ricciardo and Sainz, they seem to be solidifying their positions almost in the top 11 there from P8 to P11 downwards. The only major change has been Raikkonen, who's catapulted himself up there. And the constructors, no order change, just points changes really. Ferrari, we lose a few little points to Mercedes, not massively, just a little bit to Mercedes there. Red Bull still lagging behind massively to the top 2 here. Alfa Romeo solidify themselves in P4 by getting some more points on Haas, but like I said, no other change really in the kind of bottom half of the constructors there. But guys, if you did enjoy that episode then for round number 9 at the Austrian Grand Prix, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do subscribe for weekly Formula content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.